Hi everyone, how are we doing today? Great. Good. My name is Zoe Ventil. I'm the Graduate Assistant for Off-Campus Student Services. I am a grad student here at UNT in the Public Administration program, and this is my last semester. Thank you. I'm really excited. Glad to be out of here. You know, 5 years is long enough.
In a couple of years, you're going to say, I wish I was back in school.
Yeah. That will never be the case. I enjoyed my time here, but I'm ready to go.
Wow.
My goodness. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and play a video for you guys just to get a good idea of what OCSS is and Off-Campus Student Services, the programs and the services that we offer for you, okay?
My name is Alexandria Anderson Scribner, and I'm the coordinator of Off-Campus Student Services. Here at Off-Campus Student Services, we provide resources for our diverse student population, including off-campus, commuter, non-traditional, 100% online, and graduate students. We have a range of services, programs, and events for you to be active and engaged on campus. Our goal is to provide both personal and academic support to be able to achieve your goals here at UNT.
I heard about OCSS through an email asking for volunteers for just general help, and then in the response I got, I was asked to apply for the non-traditional rep position. OCSS has made an impact in my life in a handful of ways. The tabling events and dealing with the student body, faculty, and staff, and then just the general interaction with everybody I've come across, people I work with, and everybody in the events that I've worked as well. Other students can pull a lot from OCSS. Just coming to the events, they can meet a number of people, faculty, staff, administration, other students that kind of help build relationships and potential opportunities in the future. The various programs that we have and resources that we offer can help students become more ingrained and connected to campus, and it can also help their academic life.
My overall interaction with OCSS has been over the last several years. Various events, a lot of information, training, and just a lot of fun activities. What I've gained from attending some of these events has been a lot of free food, for one thing. As a student, you can't complain about free food. A lot of fun, enjoyment, and even some friends out of it. The thing that attracts me to events, I mean, honestly, as a student, is free food, but this organization as well. I've never had a negative experience out of this organization. There's a diverse population, which I absolutely love. Very accepting, very warm. No matter who you are, how you identify, how you dress, anything like that, you're not going to even get questions about it, other than how are you and what can we do to help. It's fulfilled a big need of just companionship, camaraderie. You know, if I needed a roommate, I know where to go. If I need any other resources, I know where to go. These guys are a one-stop shop for everything. And I'm sure if I needed anything else that they didn't have, they would know how to properly send me to the resources.
So now that you have a great idea about what Off-Campus Student Services is and some of the services and programs we offer, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth into them. First, starting off with our website. So we're going to navigate our website a little bit. But once you get to our website, which is just Off-Campus Student Services, just Google it, UNT, and it'll pull it up with the first one. Go to our resources tab. We have a bunch of different resources that we offer you. Are you guys, for the students that are here, are you guys first year or second semester, first semester or second semester? Freshmen? Second?
First semester, second semester.
Second semester?
Yeah, second semester.
Second as well? Okay, perfect. So you guys will be moving off campus soon, or looking for places to move off campus soon, relatively in the next year or so, right? We have a housing option right there for you. If you're looking into that, and we'll be looking into that, we'll go into that a little bit deeper later in the presentation, Rick will. And so that's website. Most of the students that we cater to for off-campus student services are non-traditional students, graduate students, commuter students, transfer students, so off-campus students. So not typically freshmen, but since you guys are transitioning into off-campus students, we have services that cater for you as well. We have a program called Coffee and Combos, where you get to have coffee. If you're not a coffee drinker, that's fine. It can be soda or water. You come by our office. I'll give you a voucher to get a free cup of coffee or drinks with any professor of your choosing. say you start off a semester and you'd like to get to know your professor better, or you've researched the professor, rate my professor, and find out that the professor is not as easy of a professor as you would like, or the class isn't going to be as easy as you would like. Get some brownie points with the professor by taking them out for a drink, getting to know them, and that puts you a step higher, with that professor than everyone else in the class, Some of our programs that we offer is Open House. So Open House is a resource for all our students to come by. It's going to be in the library mall, which is the red brick area with the fountains right in the middle there where you guys saw. Bunch of our departments here on campus and organizations are going to be tabling at not housing fair, that's a different one, Open House. And it's just a source for students to be able to come by those tables to get resources from all those departments here on campus that have services to provide students. It's like a one-stop shop for them to be able to get those services that they need. Professional Picture Day is another resource that we offer students. Students can come by and get a free professional headshot for whatever they need, whether it's for their LinkedIn profile, their resume, whatever they need a professional presence for, they can come get one, and they'll receive the edited photos in about the next week or 2 weeks. Coming up, it's February 12th is going to be our first one of the semester. We have 3 each semester, so we have about 1 each month. Stay Connected is our parents option, text option for parents that want to be involved, stay connected or up to date on some of our upcoming events and things like that you might want to attend or have your student attend. It's a great way for you to stay updated on that. Next is our housing website, which Rick will go way more in depth on. On our website, students are able to find pricing and amenities for the different apartment complexes here in the Denton area. They can find roommates on that website. They can put up their lease on that website as well, or find and take over leases on that website as well. Like I said, we cater to non-traditional students mostly, and non-traditional students is a student that's not the typical traditional student. So these students are usually older, above the age of 24, work full-time, usually have children or parents, things like that. So we have a non-traditional and single-parent local ward, which is about $200, so we'll pay for your textbooks if you're a non-traditional student for that semester. It's a great resource for students that don't want to pay $200 a semester for a book. I would like that. We have Union of Non-Traditional Students, or Off-Campus Connection, which is our organization for students getting off-campus students to get involved here on campus. Mostly they do volunteering for our events. So if you end up needing volunteer hours for any organization that you might want to join, it's a great option for you to do that as well. And dining options, Rick will go into your different meal options here that you have on campus as a freshman, and as you'll be transitioning off into commuter meal plans as well. This is our information for off-campus services. If you ever need to reach out to us, feel free to shoot us an email with any questions that you might have. If you need me to send you the housing website again, whatever it is, reach it out to us. That will be sent directly to me, and I'll be able to answer you guys' questions. Right. Do you guys have any questions for me so far? No? That means I did a great job. Thank you. All right.
You're the best. Thank you.
I know.
Good afternoon. My name is Rick White. I am a third-party vendor for the University of North Texas, and we are responsible for the publication Off-Campus Housing Source, which there are some copies right over here for you. We've changed our name because of our new contract with the university. We are also the official website of record for the university, and will maintain and overtake their domain name, offcampushousing.unt.edu. During that transition, we would recommend that you deal with you can still go to their site, it's a different company, but with our site, we're going to just discuss this with you. If you look to the left here, if you can see my arrow, this is what the website will look like from your mobile phone, and this is what it will look like to the right if you look at it from a laptop. 75 to 80% of all of our searches originate from a mobile platform. That may be something that you may want to think about when you're looking at it. and it's a incredibly resourceful, and it is Denton specific. One of the things I wanted to do, the last lecture we had, I went a little too in depth about some stuff and got a little off, so I'm going to kind of give you just kind of an overview of the site. From a standpoint of the mobile unit, basically you just press the UNT and it's going to go into the functionality of getting ready to do a search. So we have a featured community here, and then as you scroll down, you'll find that if you're a student and you've been here for a year, you're probably going to know a lot of the student living communities and apartments. If you're interested, you can just go directly to that apartment, and or you can do a basic search here. And that's just real basic information for you. We have a resource section I think that will be incredibly important for people. And that resource section will deal with specifics about the culture of UNT. And as you look here, you'll see that we start off here with a building guide, parking, a commuter meal plan. One of the things I think that's really important as a parent looking at budgetary concerns about a student that's going to start living off campus is there's three things that are really important: food, shelter, and transportation when you're going to school. And if you're nutritionally really, having a hard time with the budget of bills, cooking, and all those other things, a meal plan is the way to go. It really is an off-campus meal plan. They get 3 squares a day. That's really important stuff when you're a student, let's face it. And if you take really the maximum of meal plan here for an off-campus student is about $2,000 a semester. If you divide it up by 120 days, it's like $16 a day. You know how far as parents and even students, $16 goes at a restaurant or even at the store, so you save time, dishes, all those kinds of things, and it's all about time and time management with going to school. So they go through meal plans, and we get into the housing, so we assist you with housing. Also, if you need to go to their portal and the housing fair, that'll be something really important. If you're a student here, second semester, going to become a sophomore this spring, housing fair is hugely important. It'll be the 24th, if you want to write this down, of March, which is a Tuesday from 11 to 1 o'clock. It'll be over near the main mall where the library is. If you're familiar with that, where the major fountain is, right behind the administration building where the president office is. And then, so this is resource information here. If anyone has any questions, please you're welcome to be involved. Whether you're interested in the services for non-traditional students, whether or not you want to speak with someone in legal services, all this information is provided for you. And as you go further down, you're going to find here that there's information specific to the Denton market and things of that nature. Roommate contracts, moving, just ideas about what to do and how to go about all that stuff. What I wanted to do real quickly over here, because it's probably easier to see, is take you through a search, so to speak. So on our website, you'll go to the property type, and then we have it broken down into either apartments, student living, and again, student living is going to be the most natural progression of a freshman moving into their sophomore year. They probably don't want to be as exposed from a legal standpoint and or cost factors, investments of beds, dining ware, things of that nature. They go into a student living community. There's about 16 to 20 of them here in Denton, and it's an individual lease. They can go from a 1-bedroom up to a 5-bedroom, and then they share literally a common area, so to speak. So when a student, let's say they get together with 2 friends, they get a 3-bedroom apartment, they have their own bedroom that's fully furnished, they have their own shower, they have a lock to their door. That's a natural progression as far as from a freshman in a dorm to that. So all they really need to show up with is their computer, their iPad, whatever the deal may be, their books and their clothes, and they're ready to go. If you put someone in a conventional apartment community, that's when you start buying beds, furnishings, things of that nature. And it's also, there's a maturing aspect. They're going to be, if they're in a student living community, they're going to be with like-minded students instead of off there living with a conventional apartment community and really there's no services provided. They may not know anybody there, and then they've got a kind of a different culture. So as we recommend, any freshman that is becoming a sophomore that's going to be living off campus and become a non-traditional student, we highly recommend that you really take a look at off-campus student living. And then in here we can get apartments under 30, duplexes, houses, and again, we find most of the people that are doing this are juniors, seniors, graduate students, doctorates, things of that nature. I would like to talk to you about some of the real advantages of living off campus in a student living community. Number one, their DCTA, Denton County Transit Authority, has a relationship with the university to where all these student living communities are serviced by a bus. And they literally have a bus route of every 5 to 7 minutes that they're coming by that particular property and getting them to campus. That can save you on gas, insurance, automobile issues, and I don't know if you've ever parked here on campus or been to campus at 8:30 on a Wednesday morning or something like that. It might take you a half an hour to find a parking spot. So there's some real benefits of living in some of these communities. Just so you're aware of that, you save money on parking, all those other things like that. So all we wanted to do here today was to make sure you are aware of the website. It is, it's a self-descriptive scenario where everything you do here, you're going to find a lot of stuff out, and everything that we've covered, whether it be from Zoe or Keisha, that'll be speaking with you later about legal services, you'll find all that information is over here on the resource section. If you have any questions or anything like that, also, we're very personable, and so you don't hesitate to give us a call. So all you would do over here is you go on to contact us, and you can email us, or you can give us a call or whatever. Okay? So I think what's important, grab a card, grab some information over here. I have information on parking services, the parking app if you're going to park on the streets. I have information about DCTA and the bus route services. And also we have a flyer here, so to speak, that takes all the student living communities. You can look at them alphabetized, you can look at them by distance to campus, you can look at them by rates, you can look at them by what bus services take care of them. Okay? So, and if you have any questions, I'm going to leave you with my card. All this stuff is up here, and we're here to help you out in any way we can, and thank you so much for your time.
My name is Keisha Ware, and I'm the director and an attorney with Student Legal Services.
And good afternoon, my name is Nikki Muhammad. I'm also an attorney at Student Legal Services. Keisha Ware happens to be the director of Student Legal Services. Our office is housed on the 4th floor of this building, room 411. We have combined experience for 40 years, and we're licensed with the state bar of Texas.
And all of our services are free. In that when your students pay their student services fee, if they need to come up and get advice and counsel for us, or they need us to drop the letter or contact the landlord, they do not come out of pocket. The only time we have to charge fees for our services is if we have to file a report. So we just pay filing fees to whatever court we need to file a document for. Typically, we see most of our students regarding our number one issue is landlord-tenant issues. We do some minor criminal things like maybe minor possession, traffic citations, advice on those. We do some consumer work. We review contracts sometimes, employment contracts, and Ifton was a great addition to our office. She brought immigration skills to our office as well. So we now do immigration consults as well. What we want you to know about our office is it's a great resource for students. And then, like I said, everything is free that we do. We try to do educational outreach opportunities as well. We've done seminars on how to start your own business. But what we're here today to talk to you about is what to look for when you are starting a lease, and some of the things that people don't think about, because the way that leasing is done has changed from when we leased apartments back in the day. And a university this size, a lot of the complexes are now huge apartment complexes, and everything is becoming corporatized, so things are different. So we want you to consider some things as you get ready to lease.
Okay, and so Keisha, what is a lease?
So basically, a lease is a legally binding contract, and it really lays out your duties, rights, and responsibilities as a member of a community. It's going to tell you what unit you're assigned, how much your rent is, whether your utilities are covered or not, how much notice you have to give if you're not gonna renew. So that's basically what a lease is. And then, what are your remedies? If something's broken, who's responsible for fixing it, and things like that.
Okay. And are there what types of lease are available?
Typically, we see two types of leases. One is what we call a single lease, where each individual person in a room has their own individual lease. Or there's the lease where you're joint and severally liable. So let's say you have 3 roommates, y'all are all in an apartment. Each of you are responsible for the total amount of rent. So if you have 3 people in an apartment and one person decides, you know what, this college thing is not for me, I have to go home, then the other 2 roommates have to assume the entire amount of that lease. Whereas if you're on a single lease and you have 2 other roommates, if that one roommate decides to go home, you are not responsible for that person's lease. So those are some things that you look for when you're trying to find a lease. What works best for your situation, to be jointly severally liable with a whole bunch of people, people you don't know, can't control the circumstances, or do you want a single lease where you're individually responsible?
And so, with regard to the single lease, what are some of the pitfalls with regard to that?
Well, some of the pitfalls with the single lease, there's really not too many pitfalls with it, but I'm trying to think. Attorney Muhammad, can you think of
Well,
some?
maybe the common area, maybe one. I mean,
Okay.
sometimes what happens is that, well, most of the time, with an individual lease, you do have your own single room, your own bathroom, it's kind of contained within an apartment as a whole, right?
Right.
But then you have the common area, which is the living room and everything else. And sometimes, things happen in the common area that students may be responsible for. Is that correct?
Yes, so for example, that was given to us earlier by Rick. And what if you have a couch that's in the common area and it's destroyed because someone has a dog and they decide they want to scratch it up or choose something else? Who's responsible? If it's a single lease situation, what would you think? Who would be responsible for the couch in the common area?
Split roomways.
Right, it's split. It's split all 3 ways. And that's something that people don't always think about. Or when you're getting ready to vacate the apartment and you decide to leave the kitchen trashed and the apartment complex has to clean it.
Right.
They're going to split the cleaning fees 3 ways.
Okay. So is it a situation too bad, so sad, everyone's responsible, or is that a way to maybe go after the roommate who's responsible for that?
Well, the way to mitigate for that is we have like sample roommates agreements on the table. You get together at the beginning and put in writing who's going to be responsible for what. If an individual person causes damage to the common areas, you can contract amongst yourselves that person will be 100% responsible for that particular fee, and that could be legally binding. And your remedy would be to take that person to small claims court after you move out. You're still going to be responsible to the apartment complex, split the different ways, but then you have a way to recoup your funds if you have that particular piece in writing. The other thing is, it's just good to have a meeting at the beginning anyways. Let's talk about how do we feel about having overnight guests? How many times can someone spend a night? Because sometimes that causes friction between the roommates. If someone's having their living girlfriend or boyfriend over every night, even though they have a single room, they still have to share the TV space. They're using electricity or whatever.
Yeah, and it can become a problem, especially if you're in a joint lease, right? Because sometimes in a lease, they prohibit overnight guests to a certain degree, right? 3 or more or something like that. So one gets booted out as a result of breaching said lease, right? The other 2 may be on the hook as well.
Right. And so that's the other thing. A lot of times students come to us and say, you know what, I can't stand my roommate. We don't get along. They eat all my food. They're taking things from me. I just want them kicked out. I saw them doing marijuana. But one of the things that they don't realize is on a joint lease, if one person's lease is terminated, everyone's lease is terminated. So it's really important that you know the people in your joint lease situation, you have some background with them, and also get everyone's contact information up front. When you first move in, make sure you have everyone's first name, last name, telephone number, email address, and a permanent mailing address. That way, if something happens and you end up having to seek legal redress later, you have a place where the person can be served. Because if you don't have that contact information, there's really nothing you can do. And it's hard to find people after they scatter to the neighborhoods.
And so when a student is looking for an apartment, right, can you walk through what that looks like for them?
Okay, so you're looking for the apartment and you use the handy dandy sign that shows you all the communities, that shows you all the amenities, which is great, and it's a great resource and tool. But we also advocate actually going to the individual site, because you have all these shiny glossy pictures of what these rooms look like, right? And then you get there and you're like, oh, this is not what I signed up for. So ask the apartment complexes to show you the actual unit that you're going to be rented, or at least the model type of what you're going to be rented, so that you know what that is. Know that if you're taking over a sublease, because some people do, people offer incentives like I'll pay your first month's rent or something like that. Don't expect to walk into pristine condition, because the apartment complex will tell you, you took over a sublease, we don't have to clean it for you. It's basically as is. So you might want to negotiate with the person of the standard of cleanliness that you want when you walk into that unit.
Right, and another tidbit is that a lot of our students are signing leases way before they move in, right? And so when you sign a lease, and sometimes people get buyer's remorse, and they say, wait a minute, I don't even recall signing this lease. It was called a student application.
Right.
What does that look like?
Okay, so with like a lot of the student living communities, everything is done online electronically, and the lease can be 32, 40, 50 pages long. And the name of the application is called application lease. Okay, so probably about 15 to 20 years ago, when you went to get an apartment, you had to fill out the application first, right? You maybe gave a $50 application fee. They looked at your income, saw if you had enough income or not, and say, yes, you qualify, or no, you don't. And you didn't get to the step of leasing until after you cleared that process. The new process is to do them together, the application and the lease. You're doing it simultaneously. And you're clicking through with an electronic signature, and you click, there's your signature, click, there's your signature.
Not everyone's guilty of this, but.
Right,
Yeah.
but
It does
well,
happen.
you have to pay attention, because this is the new way of doing it. It's
Right.
not that it's intentionally deceptive, but it's not the way we're used to doing things. So it's different, right? And so it says on the top, lease application. Well, most people who did it the old way are saying, okay, I'm signing an application, not a lease. But part of this is the application, and then you get to a page that says lease. Okay? And they don't assign you a specific apartment or unit number. It says that they can assign that when it becomes available. So some people think, oh, well, I really didn't sign a lease. Yes, you did.
Right. And typically what happens is that this lease isn't the typical 3-page lease, right? It's a 24-page lease. And, when a student, an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old are actually sitting in front of a computer and reading all this legalese, right? And is saying, if you want to go through with this, here it is. And they're just clicking away. Well, lo and behold, when they have a problem and we're like, where's your lease? Right below it is their signature. Right below it are their initials.
Right, electronically. And that is legal in the state of Texas. So you need to know that. The other thing is they ask for a guarantor. So when you're a guarantor, you're pretty much like a cosigner. Like if your cosigner for a loan for a car or something like that. You're saying, I'm willing to step into the shoes financially for this person if they're unable to meet their financial obligations. So if the student is not able to pay the rent, they can go after the student financially, and then they can also go after you financially. So when problems arise, it's good to be proactive. We always tell students, communicate with the landlord. Some work with them, some do not. If you know you're going to have an issue, go talk to them. They'll say, maybe we can give you to the 13th. We have students come in all the time having issues, but it's better to be proactive than just ignore it. Know when rent is due. Know when you have to give notice of renewal. One more thing we wanted to share with you is a lot of these apartment complexes are starting to pressure students to renew their leases in the fall. So you move in August, and you're being asked to renew in October and November. That is way too early. I mean, so much life can happen between October and April of the next year. You want your students to look at their lease and say how much notice they have to give. Typically, it's anywhere from 30, 60, or 90 days notice they have to give whether you're going to renew. You don't have to renew in October. Okay? Sometimes they'll give incentives. We'll give you $100 Visa gift card, or this, that, and other. Well, let's say you're married and your spouse gets a job locally, and that job offer comes in March. You've already renewed your lease. You're on the hook. The only way to get out of it is to find someone to sublease it, right? So take your time. Don't feel pressure to sign up a lease right away when you just moved in August. You don't have to. Look at the terms of your lease, and they'll tell you how much time and notice you have to give. You have to give your notice in writing. When you get ready to move out, you want to make sure you put your notice in writing, and you provide a forwarding address so they can send you your security deposit. What we want to advise you to do when you move in, they give you an inventory sheet, and they tell you have 48 hours to turn it in. Put down everything you notice in that apartment that is not the way it should be, because they use that sheet to determine what they can charge you on the way out in terms of deducting from your security deposit. Take photographs, take a video of your apartment, walk through so that you can have documented proof of the condition of the apartment when you move in, and then you do the same thing when you move out. That way, if you're charged things and they say, oh, you broke the blinds, you can say, no, when I left, the blinds were in perfectly good condition, and you show the video or the photos, and that's your proof to back up that you did what you said you were going to do, and this is the condition that I surrendered the premises in. And that helps when you come to us. If you get a charge on move out deducted from your security deposit and you don't think it was a fair charge, we have documentation and we can present. Because believe us, they send us the pictures and the photos so that they can make people. And it's not all not legitimate, but sometimes it's a bit much. So document it. Okay, just document everything.
Do most departments not let you do a walkthrough when you leave?
It's not required. You can request it, but they're so overwhelmed because some of these properties, they can have 50, 100 units they're turning over, but we still encourage the students to ask for it.
I'm a property manager, and I'm going to tell you, walk through with your tenant, because that will avoid a lot of this.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just wait. It's worth it.
And so a lease is a contract, you're legally bound to that contract, but are there any other ways to get out of that contract?
It's not a very easy proposition. Most of the times we have to tell the students, no, there are very few ways to get out of the lease. The standard Texas TDA lease, there's a provision that even says if you pass away, your estate is responsible for the rent. So there's a few exceptions. If you're in the military and you're on orders, you can typically get out of your lease. If you're in a dating relationship and there's been domestic violence and that other person is listed on your lease, there's a protective order in place or there's some kind of police report, then you may be able to get out of your lease. Or if you were assaulted in the unit, sexually assaulted or something like that, or if there is some type of stalking or harassment that's taking place that's well documented, and you have a letter from a counselor stating that it's not in your emotional health or best interest to remain in that unit due to some type of trauma due to the stalking and harassment, which you need a police report for or something, need a lot of documentation. Those are the only situations really legally you have a legal right to terminate your lease. You can always talk to your landlord and tell them what your circumstances are. Try to negotiate, say I'm willing to forfeit my security deposit. I'm willing to pay the reletting fee, which is usually 1 month's rent and a half rent. That works every once in a blue moon, but typically they're going to tell you that the only way that you can get out of your lease is to find someone to sublet it. And with subletting, most leases say you need to get permission from the landlord first. So you ask the landlord first, you get that person approved, and then you make sure that that person indicates that they want to sublet your unit, or they can be assigned to another unit, and then you don't get credit for it and you're still on the hook. Now, if the situation arises and there's an emergency, and I'm gonna give you an example, and hopefully this doesn't happen to anyone, but sometimes we go to school and we get stressed, or we get depressed, and we have mental health issues, and we need to go home and sit out a semester, okay? In that situation, that would be a situation where you probably look to do a sublease to try to find someone to sublet the apartment. There's different scenarios that arise where you're not able to fulfill that obligation, but we just encourage people to communicate directly with the landlord. Tell the landlord what the situation is so that you know what your options are.
And tell your student not to be pressured into signing a lease. If you have any questions, we're available for free. We're on the 4th floor, we can do a lease review, we can talk to them about some of the pitfalls that may happen if you know, to look out for if something goes awry and the like. So we're here for our students, and they are welcome to come to our office at any time. We do have open legal clinic hours. It's on Wednesday.
Yeah, and we have good relationships with most of the landlords in top town. A lot of them work with us, work with our students. It's all about communication. It's all about letting them know, what's going on. And there's always a few bad apples, but for the most part, most of the actors in the community act in good faith, and we're able to work out any situation.
You want repeated business, right? Yes. Okay. Well, thank you guys.
And if you have, like I said, if you have any questions, give us a call. Our information is on the table. Our office is located on the 4th floor. If your students encounter issues, we have open legal clinic on Wednesdays where they can just drop in anytime between 9 and noon and 1 to 3. Or if there's another day of the week that works better for them, they can call the office and schedule